In last week's deadly coup attempt at the U.S. Capitol, a pro-Trump mob swarmed the building, outnumbering and battling police officers fighting to defend it.
It was difficult to offer any resistance when you're only about 30 guys going up against 15,000.
D.C. Metro Police Officer Michael Fanone was in this group of officers at the west front entrance of the Capitol as rioters forced their way in. They eventually push him out into the crowd where Fanone says he was tasered several times. While trapped, the 40-year-old says he thought about using his gun to fight back.
Some guys started getting a hold of my gun and they were screaming out, kill him with his own gun. At that point, it was just like self-preservation. How do I survive this situation? And I thought about, using deadly force. I thought about shooting people. And then I just came to the conclusion that, if I was to do that, I might get a few, but I'm not going to take everybody, and they'll probably take my gun away from me, and that would definitely give them the justification that they were looking for to kill me if they already didn't have made that up in their minds. So the other option I thought of was, try to appeal to somebody's humanity. And I just remember yelling out that I have kids, and it seemed to work. Some people in the crowd started to encircle me and try to offer me some level of protection. A lot of people have asked me, my thoughts on the individuals in the crowd that, that helped me or try to offer some assistance. And I think kind of the conclusion I've come to is thank you, but you for being there.
This horrifying video shows the moment the violent mob storms into a tunnel of the building, trapping and crushing D.C. Metro Police Officer Daniel Hodges by a door.
There was a guy ripping my mask off, and he was able to rip away my baton and beat me with it, and he was practically foaming at the mouth. So just these people were true believers in the worst way. When things were looking dire, obviously I was calling out for all I was worth, and an officer behind me was able to give me enough room to pull me out of there, and they brought me to the rear, so I was able to extricate myself.
Hodges miraculously leaving the attack without any major injuries, saying he was shocked. Some rioters thought authorities would be on their side.
The cognitive dissonance and the zealotry of these people is unreal. They were waving the thin blue line flag and telling us, we're not your enemies, while they were attacking us and, kill one of us. Some of them felt like we would be some of them felt like we would be fast friends because so many of them have been vocal, or at least virtue signaling their support for the police over the past year. They say things like, we've been supporting you through all this Black Lives Matter stuff, you should have our back. And they felt entitled. They felt like they would just walk up there and tell us that they're here to take back Congress, and we would agree with them, and we'd walk in hand and just take over the nation. But obviously that was not the case, and it will never be the case.
The insurrectionists even using unusual means in their efforts to break into the most secure areas of the U.S. Capitol building.
The individuals were pushing, shoving officers, hitting officers. They were spraying us with what we are calling it's essentially bear mace. It was 2 to 3 hours of heroism and bravery from these officers. I mean, the violence that they they were getting hit with metal objects, metal poles. I remember seeing pitchforks. They're getting sprayed, knocked down, and I remember, just reinforcements, just officers pulling officers back to heal up, and them stepping in to get to the front line, and then they go down, and then more officers step in.
And guys, the law enforcement officials we've talked to say that it is the work of the DC police, the Metro PD here in Washington, DC, that may have saved many lives. They were able to slow down the insurrection, the mob, the violent mob, from attacking people inside the Capitol, which allowed the Capitol Police to move lawmakers out of harm's way.